Hi, I'm here to talk to you about how to prevent your sciatic flare-ups. You already been diagnosed with sciatica. You know what a pain it is, how it hurts your back, radiates down your leg. Now, a couple of things can be mistaken for sciatic flare-ups, and that's piriformis syndrome. And I'll talk about that in another video. But if you've been already diagnosed with sciatica or suspect you have sciatica, I want to help you prevent flare-ups. I have had sciatica since 1984. And it took me a little while to figure out how to do it. I didn't even know what it was when I got it. I never heard the word before. That was a really long time ago. But once I had kind of cracked the code, I figured out how to prevent having sciatica. So, as you know, it's a nerve in your buttock that swells up, and it can be caused by herniated discs, about compression of the lumbar, by poor posture. A lot of people get it when they're pregnant. A lot of flare ups are caused because someone's carrying their wallet in their back pocket and then sit on it, or their phone. So, right away, my first um, advice is to unburden your sciatic nerve. Get that thing out of there that's causing compression on your sciatic nerve. The second thing I want to do is remind you that whenever you have an inflammation, you don't massage it. You don't go in there. In that inflammation is there to protect the pain in the body. So if you start pushing on it, you don't know exactly what you're doing because it has created this covering. So what you want to do is ice and heat therapy. So 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off until the swelling goes down. A lot of people use over-the-counter pain relievers. I don't, because I don't think they're good for my system, but I use arnica, I use Voltaren, I use other things that kind of soothe that area. But how do you prevent sciatica? And I think that one of the things that we have to figure out is what are the primary causes of it. So, first of all, whenever you're in a vehicle, cars and airplanes, absolutely the most, there's a vibration happening. The car is beating against your body. The airplane is beating against your body. The vibration is part of other mechanisms, so you don't really know that that's happening, that you're getting kind of this kind of pounding onto that buttock. And so sometimes when you get out of a car, your leg is completely paralyzed. You find it hard to step down. And then there's that sciatic reaction. For people sitting in a car, one of the things I recommend now, putting a pillow under your buttocks will just load it. So what you want to do is put it under your thigh. When you put it under your thigh, right, that lifts the sciatic nerve off the seat. So it's not coming in contact with that vibration. And I'll talk about an airplane in a second. So one of the things you don't want to do is use a really thick pillow, because then you're taking your pelvis out of alignment, and you have to then align the pelvis, which is another, problem. So that's when you're either a passenger or a driver. So sitting with something slightly lifting your buttocks off the seat will create less contact. The other thing, and I talk about this with my Pilates students, that when you're driving, and I know this is true for me, when you're driving, right? You have your leg on the accelerator and sometimes the other leg tucked right here. You see how this is pushing your pelvis down on the side of your extended leg so that your pelvis is out of sync. So what you want to do, and I figured out how to do this, took me years to figure out how to do this naturally, is put the other leg parallel to the leg that's on the accelerator or the brake. And then your pelvis stays in, right? Stays in alignment. So here you could feel the push down. Here you get back into alignment. I'm not saying that this is ever going to be the cure-all, but it's definitely going to stop as many sciatic reactions as possible. So to the airplane, especially if you have to get economy seats and you're in that narrow position, very often you are pushed down onto the sciatic nerve. And sometimes people lean their chairs back and create an arch right here that pushes down into the nerve some more. The best thing that you can do once you're in the air is slide your carry-on out and put your leg up on something I'm going to use this roller as a way of doing it. This is what I use on the plane to ease the push into the nerve. And also, you want to lift yourself up through the core. So you want to lift yourself up through the core, keep your legs a little elevated, and then you have less pressure on that sciatic nerve. If you can get through a flight without leaning back, you're probably going to be a lot happier. But if you lean back, I would put something, I usually take a big scarf with me and fold it into a little pillow and put it in my lumbar as I come back. So that's two things in the sitting position. One of the other things I want to talk about is crossing your legs. So if you're like me and you can't sit without crossing your legs, you can see that I'm putting pressure on one buttock and lifting the other one up. And this again is pelvis misalignment. So you are squeezing, right, your buttocks onto this seat, and that's going to cause compression. So it's not only, right, it's not only sitting that's a problem, we're talk about that too, but crossing those legs, and very rarely do we cross the other way. It feels unnatural, right? So then we're always putting our pelvis out of alignment. If you can't, like me, um, find yourself sitting without crossing your legs. I mean, very few of us sit with our legs parallel like this. It would be nice if we did. Now, one of the things that you have to do every time you get up from sitting is give yourself a stretch. And one of the easiest ways to do that is just come right to your halfway fold, pull into cat curl, let your legs, your hands slide down to your toes, and then release it and come back up. It's not that long, and it'll get a little bit of that tweak out of your body. So crossing your legs, big problem. Okay. The other thing I do, because I like to sit with my laptop, and sometimes I sit with my laptop like this, right? Because that creates a big table. So you can also get a little tray, like a breakfast tray, to lock your legs into parallel position and put your laptop on top of that, or anything like you're reading a book or whatever. So if you're reading a book, you're sitting and you want to read a book and say you can feel the compression happening, I recommend that you actually go into a reclined position, right? So one of the best positions that you can do, let's go down, read your book, is with your legs, let me get into the frame, with your legs in a lifted position. So I like to cross one leg over the other, read for 15 minutes, cross the other leg over and read for 15 minutes. So that's another possibility to keep yourself from aggravating your sciatica. And finally, to prevent sciatica, the way you sleep is really, really important. So sleeping on your back has an arch to it, right? Has a little bit of an arch to it. So if you are in a sciatic emergency or you're having an episode, this is not one that you really want because you're pushed down on it. Sleeping on your stomach totally twists, excuse me, twists your vertebrae. So you don't want to do that one either. So sleeping on your side with the pillow between your legs, right, is going to be the softest approach to the sciatic nerve as possible. Now, sometimes pushing on that hip does flare it, so you got to figure out what side works for you. And that might mean changing your side of the bed. Okay, this gets you started with addressing sciatica. And in an upcoming video, we're going to do exercises that help you keep your core strong and your sciatica in abeyance. Now, one of the things that you have to understand that when you have a sciatic attack, a flare up, sitting down is not the answer. You want to walk around. You want to get blood flowing into the area. And even if it means very slow walking, walking with a walker or a cane, hedging along the counter for support, you want to keep the blood flowing into the area, provide oxygen, and hopefully you'll start to feel relief. More exercises coming in the next video.